What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Kaspa today, KAS. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it. Here we are at about 12 cents right now. 12 cents, Kaspa. Keep on moving. You're up. You hit a high today of about 13.1 cents. Good job. A little bit of resistance, a little bit of turbulence there. I think a lot of cryptos see this. Your wick is a little bit bigger than most of them, but hey, man, it's not a competition. If we're looking at this here, you got overbought. You saw a nice reading at about the 83 read on the 4-hour RSI. Now you're cooling off a little bit. It's normal. It's fine. It's totally fine. Let's look at the 1-hour time frame and actually build out from there. I do like to start on the daily, and then I'll go into the short-term stuff after I have an idea of what we're looking for here. But let's just start off on the 1-hour and see where we go. Looking at the 1-hour time frame, you do have a little bit of a double top in the RSI, which is probably why you're cooling off here. You have dramatically, fantastically lower lows in the RSI here, but higher lows in the price, which makes me think that you're coming to an end of this little consolidation phase. Maybe you do want to push higher. Maybe you do want to see some kind of double top scenario where then you consolidate a little bit longer. Something like that could happen. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Let me zoom out and look at the 4-hour time frame. Right here, I have to say that just looking at the 1-hour RSI, I would expect a relative bounce right in this area. I would. Now, does it go above 12.3 cents? That's the question. Because if you're at 12 cents down, you just go to 12.3 cents and you find resistance there, lower you go. But if you can get above 12.3 cents, there's a couple scenarios that play out where you might see a slightly higher high, a slightly lower high, some kind of fantastic growth from here. We'll see. Let's look at that and see. 4-hour time frame. The 4-hour RSI again hitting the overbought zone, rejecting it, coming out of it like this. You've seen this a couple of times on your path higher. You're at an area that would make sense to bounce. I wouldn't be surprised if you did bounce from here. Let's just see. From a high to a low here. You hit the golden ratio, and you're at the 1272. Man, this is not easy. This is not easy. Because you can do a couple of things, right? From the golden ratio, in very bullish environments, which you're absolutely in a bullish environment, you do bounce off the 1272 and you progress higher. Which would mean that maybe by the end of today we're at higher prices, or tomorrow we're at prices that are at 14 cents or something around there. Who knows? Well, sometimes on the golden ratio you pull back to the 100 to the 886 area, and when you break out, back testing prior resistance points is pretty common to do. The 4-hour, it could go lower and it would still look bullish. The 1-hour could go lower and it still looks bullish, but they're both at a relative support area right now, so it's hard to say. I'm going to guess you go up a little bit higher. We're sticking with the idea of this double top potentially, and then something that could lead down to here. If not, you're probably going to rip higher immediately up to about 14 cents or more. Let's look at the daily time frame and see what we're doing here. Let's get a grand scope of this. See, this is why I like to do the day first. Someone's like, why don't you just build out from the 1-hour and then up? You always jump from the daily or the weekly down to the 1-hour, but it's like I like to get the idea. I like to see what I'm dealing with whenever I go into that. So yeah, here you are at the golden ratio, which this agrees with a lot of the things that we're saying, right? Which is the expectation would be that you probably do find turbulence here. Maybe you do move up a little bit higher. You get some kind of double top or some form of resistance in this area. I don't believe that you'll move up above 13.5 cents. I think that you'll hold this area as resistance for a little bit of time. You're being very well formed on the Fibonacci scale so far, moving up, finding support at the 236, moving up, rejecting the 0.5, finding support at the 382. Now you're up at the golden ratio. The expectation would be that you return to the 0.5, which is exactly where your prior resistance was. That's all the way back at about 10.4 cents. 10.4 cents, you're at 11.9 cents now. So over the days, I don't care how it works out, that's the expectation, is that you'll go down a little bit. Okay? If not, if I'm wrong, all you got to do is get above about 13.6 cents. If you can do that, then I'm wrong and you're moving up higher. We'll see you at like 15 cents. It wouldn't be 14 cents that you stopped at, but 15.5 cents, maybe 17.8 cents that you stop at, something like that. Kaspa, not financial advice, not a financial advisor. I do believe Kaspa has seen a very long phase of consolidation in a bear market, right? But it's not enough. It's not enough. From an all-time high to the low here that you saw, that was a 74% drop. There's not a single crypto, Bitcoin included, that in its first bear market, I should say, did not see a 90% drop or more, okay? Now, a lot of coins dropped 70% from December to April. This has been a long-lived, long-fought thing for about a year now, since July, like for 10 months at that point, right? Or maybe not 10 months. I think that'd be 9 months at that point there. But, tomato, whatever. For a long time, for 3/4 of a year, you were moving down. This, in my opinion, does not suffice as a bear market. It really doesn't. Kaspa's been in a market of its own. It really has. And not just since then. It's been in a market of its own this whole damn time. Bitcoin in its first bull cycle, most cryptos, all cryptos in their first bull cycle, they do not see runs that last 115 weeks, 114 weeks. They don't see run times that last 26. Why is it? Is something wrong with this? Where's my day? Why can't it label background? Nope. Text, coordinates, visibility. No. That's so weird. Is there an update? This is a shitty update if it is. Normally it would tell you what the how many days that was. It would also say in parentheses how many days that was. They just got 26 bars. Boo, TradingView. I liked it more before. Anyways, 26 months. And yes, I did start it back here, but that's not because I'm trying to cheat the system. That's because this is not all the history. Kaspa, to my knowledge, did start its bull run back in May of 2022, not June. But anyways, 26 months to the upside. No crypto in history has seen that kind of growth consistently in its first bull cycle. Most of them see less of a run than that. And maybe I shouldn't say no crypto in history, but most of them don't. Let alone from a low here to a high there, seeing something on the lines of, what is that? Why can't I get it? Something on the lines of like a 1,200x. That's pretty crazy. And then to not get a 90% pullback, I don't think that this does it, right? This is not your bear market. You haven't seen a bear market yet. This is not your pain. You're not absolved of going lower now and enabled to go to new all-time highs and see prices above $1. I don't think you'll see $1 in price. I'm also skeptical. I'm highly skeptical of you seeing new all-time highs. But I've started this. I've gone on this tangent for a reason, and that's because I do have a theory that there is a chance that Kaspa could see new all-time highs and that this is not the all-time high for the cycle. I really do believe that that's possible. There's a lot of momentum being built in the crypto space right now. There's a lot of momentum being built specifically with like DAG technology and stuff like that, right? Kaspa is very unique in that sense. And it's definitely a promising kind of bit of technology. And relatively speaking, Kaspa, your market cap being at $3 billion is pretty damn high. It's very high, but it's not the highest. You're number 36 in the rankings. You could climb higher. You could see higher readings. Fully diluted valuation is essentially what your market cap is now. So you don't have that getting in your way. I think that we're about to see a crazy, crazy crypto phase, and Kaspa in the wake of this crypto phase might catch a whiff of that. It's been through so much turmoil already. You have had a lot of capitulation. Okay, I don't want to get you too excited. Okay, I'm talking to you, Thomas. Shout out to Thomas Keefe. By the way, shout out to Thomas Keefe. You actually, I think you did request this one, but I was just doing it regardless because I saw that CAS was up a little bit today, along with the rest of the markets. Right, I was looking at my little. Oh, where is it? Maybe it was over here. Oh, I can't pull it up. I was looking at it and it was up a little bit today. But anyways, there is a scenario where I can see Kaspa by the end of this cycle achieving a 30 cent to a 50 cent price, something like that. Maybe at the most 70 cents to 82 cents. I don't believe Kaspa is going to be worth more than $1. I don't believe that that's going to happen. Not this cycle. Because to be worth more than $1, let's just see, to get up there, first off, based off your relative fibs, you wouldn't stop at $1 if you got to $1. You'd stop at $1.20. But hold up now, the 2272 is not where you would stop. You'd actually go above that. You actually would go above that, okay? Oftentimes you do go above that. So that's about an 11x from here. 11x on a $3.1 billion market cap, right? We're talking about like a $35 billion market cap essentially. $35 billion market cap for Kaspa. That's not impossible to achieve. $35 billion is attainable for most cryptos. It is an attainable outcome. It's not easy to achieve, but it is attainable. But here's the deal is you're not just working with that. You're talking about a $35 billion market cap at something that started as low as a 23 million. It actually started even lower than that because the price here was even lower. You started at like below a $10 million market cap. $10 million to $30 billion in one cycle. I'm not saying it can't be done, but bro, it can't be done. That's hard to do. Not only that, the implications that this has, even just going to new all-time highs, would imply that it wasn't a 26-month bull market that you had, but a multi-year bull market that you've had, right? Which is still impressive in itself and makes this thing one hell of a beast to reckon with. That's for damn sure. My assumption would be that most cryptos do top off in between October to December. I think Kaspa will top off before most cryptos. I think that one of two things is going to happen with this, okay? One of two things. Either one, the long-lived prophecy that I painted back here, which is that we would come down, and that was the all-time high of the cycle. We'd come up and we'd see either a slightly higher high or a slightly lower high. We'd get a double top, and then we go down, right? And that top would probably happen sometime at late summer, early fall, before the rest of the market topped off. I would think that Kaspa, because it started its bull market first, it's going to start its bear market first. Okay, does that make sense? Is that fair? Or if that's wrong, maybe we do grow to prices that are at new all-time highs, and then we start our bear market. If we see new all-time highs, and even if we do get to new all-time highs, by the end of June, we still could grow continuing into like September or October, maybe even August. But I would think that we do top off before most of the market. If we do see new all-time highs, that changes the perspective of where the low point will be for the bear market. Because again, if this is the all-time high, the expectation is that every coin sees something. It's not 90%. It's more like 94% or more that the average coin drops. But even at a 90% drop in your bear market, that would provide prices below 2 cents. 2 cents to 94%, that could be 1.2 cents. Something like that. Maybe at the base of this area, maybe kind of right at the top of this area here, like the heart of this like low zone. That could be where you find support. I like that. That makes sense. But if we see new all-time highs, if the price does go to, and I think it can, right? There's a reason why we're spending so much time on this, is I genuinely think it's possible. We could see the 1886200 area. If you went all the way up to, let's just say 82 cents, well, your bear market low would likely be a double bottom off of this area here, which would also be key structure at this prior area of resistance. It'd be a very nice base that you're finding support off of. You found support, in other words, at your future bear market low if you do run to prices that are at 82 cents. If I'm wrong, and I'm drastically wrong, and you see prices above $1, your bear market low will be higher than that low, likely, which would just be crazy to me. But I mean, I'm not saying it can't happen, but that'd just be crazy. If you don't see anything, between 70 cents to 20 cents instead, or if you don't see 20 cents or 70 cents, and you stop somewhere in between, I should have said, sorry, you stop at the golden ratio, that 94% drop goes down to about 2.7 cents. But still, no matter how much you look at this, the idea that we would return to these lows at some point, if not likely lower, is there even with new all-time highs, okay? I'm not in a rush to buy this thing. I don't believe that it'll outperform the rest of the market. I think the rest of the market will continue to outperform it, but it might outperform what my expectations were, at least by the end of the cycle. I'm not saying that it will. I want to be very careful here. I don't want people to get too excited, right? Just because C-Zar the bear, who's been a long time calling for this to be the all-time high, basically since that all-time high, but especially so since December, or maybe it was August or November. I don't remember. I don't remember whenever I started calling for that to be the all-time high. But just because I'm saying that we might not stop there, we might actually see a higher high, doesn't mean that we will. We very well could do this double top scenario where we V out like this. We consolidate where a lot of cryptos are growing at the end of summer, early fall, and then we start our bear market with the rest of the market and start to move down. If we do see something like this, if we cannot get above these highs, or we barely get above these highs, we are going to see a Kaspa price that is below 2 cents when it's all said and done sometime in 2026, if not early 2027. Thinking very far forward. 12 cents now, consolidating here. You're probably going to move down a little bit, and I think where you're going to move down to is about 10 cents, probably just above 10 cents, 10.5 cents around there. And inevitably, I don't think that your endeavor stops here. I think that you do continue higher. From a high to a low, my expectation would be that by the end of June, you're at something around 15 cents to 17.7 cents or higher, but we'll see. I'm hesitant to call for higher prices, at least right now, but we'll see. Higher targets are definitely on the table between now and the end of June. I just don't know how much higher. I've got nothing else for you guys. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.